Hi, Write Writers, Cruz here. Thank you so much for joining me. In this video, we are going to be writing under a time situation. In the previous video, I basically wrote an Accuplacer Writeplacer essay in 40 minutes, and I did not make the cut. So I had a word count of 214 words. And in that video, I explained some of the failures, some of the choices that I made that led to this failure of not hitting at least 300 words. And again, keep in mind that it's 300 to 600 words. And basically, what you're seeing in front of you right now on the screen is what I created in 40 minutes. Um, some states only give you 40 minutes for your essay. And so that's what I gave myself. I think I did add like a little extra minute at the end because again just fixing some typos and talking through some things. When you're talking as you're writing, it obviously takes up more time, and so I gave myself a little bit of grace at the end. Yet ultimately I still failed, and I talked about in the last video why I failed. So in this video I am just adding 10 minutes, and literally I just finished the 40-minute essay, and so rather than waiting and letting this sit for a week and coming back to it, I wanted to go ahead and record this video fresh, because if you have an extra 10 minutes to make it 50 minutes of writing, I want it to feel as authentic as possible. And so the 50 minutes happen on the spot, not, oh, you've got 40 minutes and then you can come back next week and add the other 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here and add 10 minutes. Then this will serve as a video. And then in other states, you have 60 minutes to write. And so then I will create another video, um, polishing this essay up within a 60-minute time frame, which really means adding another 10 minutes after this 10 minutes. So and then that's where I'll stop, right, writers. Some states, some of you are very fortunate, and if you live in certain states and certain community colleges, provide unlimited time on your essay, which is fantastic. However, sometimes that could be a disadvantage, because if they give you too much time, you start to second guess what you're doing. And I don't know. I mean, for me, I think an hour is plenty of time to make a 600-word essay. Maybe if you want to give yourself an extra like 15 minutes to review, but I really would not put it over 90 minutes when you're writing an essay, because sometimes I feel like it you're too likely to go down the wrong path or to go off topic. So I encourage you, right, writers, that if you're in a state where they give you unlimited time, try to fulfill as close to 600 words as possible, staying on topic, going deep, talking about maybe one specific thing in detail, rather than too many things. And just again sticking maybe to a 90-minute window and no more than that. um all right, with that said, let's go ahead and add 10 minutes. I have my timer set up, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that 10-minute mark so that we can see what I can do in 10 minutes. Timer has begun, right, writers? So in this example I talked about a DUI, and basically the prompt was having to do with um, using the difficulty, and this was the passage, the sample prompt right here in this section. I really don't want to reread it because then I will lose time. Again, that's in a previous video if you would like to look at that video. But definitely use the difficulty. If it's drama, pick up the chair and smash it. If it's comedy, fall over it. I'm going to focus on using the difficulty. And I want to add in the Lawrence Eisenberg part because I wanted to include his name in this. Apparently, you did not use Lawrence Eisenberg's Okay, let me make sure I spell his name correctly with a W. And is it an E or a U? Okay, an E. Okay, and at this point, I wanted to now add on to this Right Riders because again, I'm at 2:14 and under 50-minute conditions, I have 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. I want to add on to this. So imagine calling your parents at 3 in the morning to tell them that you have been arrested for drinking and driving. Perhaps you can hear the gasps at the other end of the call. Perhaps you can hear their gasps at the other end of the call, or the immediate sobs, or the immediate uncontrollable sobs from your mother. No one says when I grow up I want to have a DUI on my driving record. However, some young people find themselves in that situation. So I ended with the question is, and so I kind of want to say that in the beginning. So I'm a big fan of ending where you began. And so I've got 4 minutes and 57 seconds. I really am trying to get this to 300 words, right, writers? So, however, some people, young people, find themselves in that situation. The question is, the question requires, however, some young people find themselves in that situation. The question requires an internal gut check. So I'm thinking like gut, like what would you say? The question requires an internal gut check. And maybe I'll say which will require. However, some young people find themselves in that situation, which will require an internal gut check. How do you turn that permanent obstacle into something positive? Okay, so I definitely added some words to it. I'm now at 2 minutes and 23 seconds, right, writers? So I really need to see what my word count is because again, I was at 214 and now I am at trying to get it to as close to 300 as possible. I don't know if I'm going to make it under 50 minutes. So 60 minutes may be the trick for me. Um, so I'm at 226 and I've got like 2 minutes left. However, some people find themselves in that situation. However, some young people find themselves in that situation, which will require, in turn, this will require an internal gut check. And I really wanted to add more at the end. Instead, you chose to spiral down a path of more substance abuse riddled with pity. And maybe I will go into detail on these examples like pity, guilt, shame, and self loathing. So, with pity, feel sorry for me because I made one stupid decision. 24 seconds left. Or maybe guilt. All right, time's up. Okay, so dismiss. So in this case, or maybe guilt, shame, and self loathing. So at this point, and notice, right, writers, how I still left it to where there's no, I kept the essence of it, but I made sure that I didn't leave any fragments. Or maybe guilt, shame, and self loathing could be a fragment, but it could also be a way to create some sentence fluency and provide a little bit of voice. So I think I'll be able to get away with what I left. And what you don't want to do, right, writers, is find yourself in a situation where you're changing, and then you're creating grammatical errors, and that's really what you do not want to do. So again, to keep um, in line with the time, I'm going to go ahead and see where I ended up with my word count. And so in this case, I ended up with 241 words. So again, still a failure. 50 minutes was not enough. So that was round one. Well, this is round two, but round one was 214 words. And now I have another big failure for round two. And at this point, I think, let's talk about this. Let's talk about where I wasted time. I went back up to the prompt to show you guys what that was about. And I should have already had some decisions of like, oh, okay, let me expand on the guilt, the pity, the guilt, the shame, and self loathing. And I just could have expanded on each of those rather than going back through the whole essay and figuring out where to go from there. So I think that was definitely an error in my part. And I definitely should have just jumped in and identified where to elaborate. And I again remind students, better to go deep than to go shallow and broad. It's better to go deep and narrow. So this is 241. Again, a big failure, round two. And this was, and again, I just want to point out, this was at 40 minutes. And then this one down here was at 50 minutes timed. Okay, so let's see what will happen at 60 minutes timed. Right, writers, I will leave it here, and time to make another video and add that extra 10 minutes and see if I can hit 300 and then some. And I definitely know exactly where I'm going to be going. And again, to maintain authenticity, I just wanted to go ahead and make these videos sort of back to back to back, because in a real timed test situation, you get those 60 minutes or those 50 minutes or those 40 minutes all at once. It's not like you take 40 minutes and then you add another 10 minutes the next week. So thank you again, Right Writers, for watching this video. And again, the big reason I'm making these videos, going back to another Accuplacer Writeplacer example, is because they're popular and students really want to see the process of these essays. So I'm doing it again. All right, take care, right writers. Please subscribe, like, comment. Take care. Bye bye.